Okay, we're going to start off with the relaxation response. Let me bring up my timer. And we're going to do it for 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes today. For our guest, the relaxation response is simple. It's the repetition of a word, sound, phrase, or muscular activity combined with passive disregard of everyday thoughts. And what passive disregard means doesn't mean you try to clear your head. It just means as you get distracted, which you will, you go put your mind back on your repetition. So I'm going to put on the board our basic relaxation response. Breathe in, count to 4. Or say to yourself, I am safe, one I like to promote. One I was taught, it's the one that works best for me. And then as you breathe out, in your head you count to 5. Or you say to yourself, I am at peace. Now one of the reasons why this is the one that I recommended is you notice that as you breathe out, you're counting for a little bit longer. Exhaling longer than you inhale is actually better for your body, and it helps you relax because you're getting more of the carbon dioxide, monoxide. I could never.
Carbon dioxide.
Dioxide.
If it was monoxide, we'd all be dead.
I know. So that's the one that we're going to do today, and I'm going to put on some music or sounds. So let's decide amongst ourselves, do we want to hear rainforest sounds, ocean sounds? Well, I missed the ocean. Silence, music, specific music. We can pick anything we want to pick. So what do you guys as a group want to listen to while we do our relaxation response?
Marshall Tucker.
I don't know how relaxing that would be, but I've been surprised in the past, so let's...
Do you have rain? Like thunderstorm rain?
We do.
And I don't mean crashing thunderstorm, but rain, gentle, constant rain and stuff. That used to put me to sleep.
All right. I'll do... thunder and rain, ambience.
Yeah.
We'll do that for about 3 to 5 minutes. And while you're doing it, remember to focus on your breathing. And you're going to get distracted, but that's okay. When you get distracted, just put your mind back on your counting or your phrases. So as you breathe in, you count yourself 1, 2, 3, 4. The pace isn't important. You set the pace. Just focus on the numbers. And as you breathe out, you count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you get distracted, thinking about what you're going to do later on today, the weather, just put your focus back on the numbers or your phrases. I like to use the phrases. As I breathe in, I say to myself, I am safe. And as I breathe out, I say to myself, I am at peace. And if you get distracted, just put your mind back on your counting or your phrases. And we'll do that for about 3 to 4 more minutes. And the deeper you breathe, the more effective it'll be. Remember, you're not trying to clear your mind. Don't worry if you get distracted. Just put your mind back on your counting or your phrases. Breathe in, breathe out. We're going to finish up here in another less than a minute. All right. I wasn't here last week, so did you guys cover session 6 last week? Session 6 covered connecting with more than self, spiritual beliefs and practices, and a sense of meaning and purpose.
I think we did 5 last week.
We did 5 last week,
I think
which
so.
was
Positive attitude.
positive attitude. Yeah. Okay, good. Because I like session 6 a lot more than session 7. Session 7 is important, which is next week, but I like session 6. Connecting with more than self, it starts on page 31, really starts on page 32 for the reading, and then the questions start on page 33. Connecting with that which is more than self. So let me start by asking for a volunteer to read the first couple paragraphs on page 32 for us, under connecting with that which is more than self. Anybody? Thank you, sir.
Connecting with that which is more than self, spiritual beliefs and practices, and a sense of meaning and purpose seem to involve being connected with something that is more than me. Spirituality is often defined as a sense of connection that transcends individual experiences and unites the parts into a greater whole. For many people, spirituality, meaning, and purpose cannot be separated. For them, spirituality is the road to meaning and purpose. Spirituality may include belief in a power that created and controls all of life. It may include a belief in the interrelatedness of all living creatures. It may be a feeling of unity or connection with nature.
Okay, who would like to read the next paragraph for us? Somebody else? Anybody? All right, for some, spirituality and spiritual beliefs may be very clear and concrete, and spiritual practices may center around specific religious rites, rituals, and ceremonies. For others, spirituality and spiritual beliefs may be more vague and mysterious and held in experiences like the following. At that moment, I realized that I was not alone. My pain was the same pain that everyone else in the room had experienced. My shame was their shame. Their shame was my shame. My anger was their anger. Their anger was my anger. I was not alone. And whatever had seen me through all of this had seen them through also. Whatever had sustained me had sustained them. Anybody like to read? Okay, I'll continue. Spirituality plays a major role in Alcoholics Anonymous. 12-step program as seen in step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand him/her. Praying only for knowledge of his/her will for us and the power to carry that out. In step 12, having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. However, and this is the most important paragraph on this page, in this manual, spiritual beliefs and practices are defined as a sense of meaning and purpose that can play a crucial role in one's ability to weather life's storms. How have spiritual beliefs and practices and a sense of meaning and purpose played a role in your life relative to your mental health, addiction, and overall health and wellness? How have they helped you weather the storms of life?
Community?
Community? I think that's a hard question to ask because we haven't really talked enough about spiritual beliefs and practices and a sense of meaning and purpose. So, spiritual beliefs. Let's think outside the box. What is one example of a spiritual belief?
So like things like love thy neighbor and all that stuff, or what? Being
Well-
nice to people.
Let's be more specific.
Belief in a higher power?
Now you're getting somewhere, but guess what? We need to be even more specific.
Belief in God? In
Yes,
one God?
but guess what?
Give
What?
an
We need
example of what you're looking for. It's too vague.
Islam. That's a spiritual belief.
Okay.
Ah.
Catholicism, Orthodoxy.
Exactly. I could stand here for probably 30 minutes or more writing down different religious denominations and beliefs. What are some other religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs? Let's write down some of the big ones.
Judaism?
And somebody help me spell that one.
Judaism.
That's not
I thought there was an
right, but
H in
that's okay.
there.
We know
That's
what
okay.
you mean.
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Buddhism?
That's-
Well, I like some Buddhist parables that I've read. They're pretty cool. This is another one.
D,
A.
two Ds. HI, no.
I think that's right.
Oh.
We know what we're talking about. Now let's think outside the box.
Paganism. PAG.
Keep thinking outside the box. I'm going to write down my favorite that I usually bring up in this class under this list.
Neo-paganism.
Wiccan.
Well, that falls under paganism. Wiccan falls under paganism.
Yeah, paganism is a general term. Wiccan. There are people who practice Wiccan religion. I also like to bring up as an example, I don't know the name of it, but I do know that a very popular Native American religion focuses on the earth. They believe that the earth is God and trees are, they find that their spiritual beliefs focus around the earth.
The Romani, who are the gypsies, are another earth-based
Romani?
religion. Yeah, they, Romani.
Yep. And
Hinduism.
Hinduism. And one of my favorites to put down on this list,
That's not spirituality.
not
People
for
who are
you.
atheists are not spiritual.
I would disagree with you.
God knows
My
atheists, and
belief-
they are not spiritual. They're awful.
Well, hold on. My belief, I'm going to pretend right now that I'm an atheist, which I'm not. Let's say I'm an atheist. My spiritual beliefs are that there is no God, that nothing is sacred, I just believe in science and the circle of life. That's their spiritual belief. Does that make sense?
Atheists do not believe in the spirit in the circle of life. They believe in themselves.
All right, well, we're not going to debate any of the religious beliefs, but
Okay.
their religious belief is there is no life beyond death.
What
Does that
about
make sense? That's a
agnosticism?
spiritual belief.
Agnosticism?
Mormonism.
And I'm gonna end with my favorite. I don't know the name of it, maybe you guys do. I've looked it up in previous classes, but it doesn't matter. My biological father used to go to a church that believed that all religions worship the same God. Unitarianism, maybe?
Unitarian Universalism?
Yep.
Have you ever heard of humanism?
No.
Now, when I grew up, there was a group of humanists in town, and I said, Mom, what are humanists? And she said, well, they don't believe in God, but they believe that human beings are the God, or something, not like we're all God,
Yeah, I
but it
know
was
it.
something like the God is in us, it
Exactly.
isn't out there somewhere, you know.
That's worthy
They
of
call
writing
that
down.
humanism.
Now, these are spiritual beliefs.
You didn't write down Mormonism.
Well, like I said, we could stand here for a long time and write down different religious groups. Scientology, Church of Christian Scientists is another one. There are tons and tons of groups that have completely different spiritual beliefs. These are labels that we're putting on groups that have specific spiritual beliefs. But what the book was saying was, you could be a member of none of these groups, and your spiritual belief is, yeah, there may or may not be a God, but I believe that as long as you go through your life and you do unto others, then you're being, that's the way you should live your life. So I like to define spiritual belief as, this is how people believe that you should live your life. Does that make sense? And it could have nothing to do with a God. That's why I brought up atheism as an example. Again, I'm not defending atheists. I know you obviously have strong
Yeah,
feelings
well, I
about
mean, I've had experiences with them, they are all about me,
I
you know.
could have written Satanist on this
Mhm.
list as well. There are a lot of different people and groups that have lots and lots of different spiritual beliefs. Now, let's list some spiritual practices. This list should be a lot easier, because all you have to do is look at this list and think of things that people do. What they practice, what they do as part of their spiritual beliefs and connections with groups that believe otherwise. I grew up Catholic. One of our main spiritual practices was taking communion during Mass. Most people that I know, whether they are Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Mormons, most major religions that I've ever heard of have a practice of praying. It's one of the things that they do to practice their religious belief, or to do something on behalf of their religious belief. Does that make sense? What are some other practices?
Diet.
Diet?
Yeah.
Who might diet as part of a spiritual practice
Well,
related to their
the
belief?
Jews are real strict with their diet, with
You're
the
right,
kosher thing.
absolutely. Oh, aren't Muslims as well?
And
They don't
Hindus.
eat.
Mhm.
And Hindus.
Oh, the Hindus are real big
Oh,
with that,
that's
they're
right.
they're completely vegetarian, that been for thousands of years.
That's right. What are some other spiritual practices? Native Americans incorporate dancing into some of their spiritual rituals and
What about
traditions.
sacrifice?
What's one of the things that you will find in almost every church that you go to? A lot of different churches. Singing. A lot
Study.
of people sing as part of their spiritual practices. So the beliefs, the practices, and we could go on. What are some, I'm not making fun of them when I say this, because when I went to college, I knew somebody who was a Wiccan. And they would go out into the woods, and one of the things that they would do, they would hug trees. They really did. I have actually hugged a tree once in my life. I'm not proud, I'm not ashamed, I'm just saying, that's a spiritual practice that some people have. What are some other spiritual practices that people may have?
Study.
Absolutely. Reading your doctrine, the book, most groups have a book. Joining with other people in Bible studies or other studies where you read.
Oh, making a pilgrimage.
That is one of my favorites. I think that's...
It's AGE. It's okay.
That's a good one, because there are a lot of religions that, my Catholic family back home in North Carolina, they love going over to Israel and viewing holy sites and visiting the Vatican. My aunt, one of the highlights of her life, she said, was going and visiting the Vatican. Pilgrimages. Anything else you guys can think of?
Fellowship.
I usually think of that when I put it on the board.
Stewardship.
Now, I want you to think outside the box. Look at the first two items on the list on the left. What are some practices? What are things that you can do to practice spiritual beliefs, maybe like that? I'll write down one of the... Be nice. Random acts of kindness. Do unto others.
Benevolence.
I'm sorry?
Benevolence.
I don't know what you call this, but my church makes meals for the homeless. But I don't know how you would, make meals for the homeless or make meals for the needy or something like that.
As you were talking, I was writing
Oh,
feeding the homeless.
Okay.
Perfect timing we have. Feeding the homeless, helping your neighbors. I like being nice. That is a spiritual practice that I think a lot, if not all, of the major religions practice, at least within their own fellowship.
Social
I'm glad you
justice.
brought up fellowship.
Social justice.
Make breaks in my house. Take one thing.
Social justice, that's a perfect example. What religious belief system might something like this be tied to?
Unitarian Universalism.
Absolutely. All right, anyone else? Spiritual practices? Now, you have this spiritual belief, or these people have these spiritual beliefs. To exercise these beliefs, they go to church, they go out into the woods, they go meet other people, sit around, have coffee, talk about things. They have their practices related to their beliefs. And the third thing that the book mentioned is sense of meaning and purpose. I like to define sense of meaning and purpose very, very simply. Why are we here? Why? A lot of Christian churches that I've been to serve God. Populate the earth.
I think we've done a real good job of that.
Save the earth. Maybe you're an environmentalist and your spiritual beliefs are tied in to the earth.
Recycling.
I think that definitely falls under saving the earth.
Help people.
Why else would a person, if you were to go around the greater Cincinnati and ask a person, why are you here? Why are we here? What are some of the answers you may get?
To serve other people.
I love that answer. Why else would somebody say that we're here? I'm getting ready to write one down that you may not like, but it's a common one, and I'll just write it down. there are some spiritual beliefs where this is a perfectly acceptable answer for your sense of meaning and purpose. I have no idea why I'm here. What are some other reasons people may say that humans exist?
To discover.
All right, now let's move on to personal sense of meaning and purpose. What's your sense of purpose in this earth? One of mine, actually, to be more specific, 3 of mine are my kids. The only reason I'm alive right now is to make sure that my kids are as happy and healthy as possible. That's my personal sense of meaning and purpose, separate actually from spiritual beliefs. Take care of my kids. What's your personal, if any,
When they
sense
get
of
to
meaning
be
and
over
purpose?
18, you think you still feel that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, I already have one over 18. And I still feel a sense of responsibility to impart wisdom, to yell at her when she doesn't study for college classes enough, when she makes stupid mistakes or mistakes that I think are stupid. Yeah, she's still part of my sense of meaning and purpose. Does anybody else have a personal sense of meaning and purpose that you're willing to share with the group? If not, that's okay, we can move on. Anybody?
Try to find out why we're here.
Search for answers. To why we're here, to the universe, or to why we're here? I'll just put to why.
Why is there something instead of nothing? Why isn't there nothing?
All right, I'm going to put down one that I write down on the board every time we do this class, and then we'll move on. Some people are either really confused, they've been to a lot of churches, they've been disgruntled by churches that they've gone to, they don't like a lot of doctrines, they don't have any spiritual beliefs, they don't have any spiritual practices. Maybe one of their senses of purpose is to find one that they believe in, to find one where they find a church where maybe they agree with what's being preached and taught. So somebody's personal sense of purpose may be to find God, to find a church, to find other people that they can connect with. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to lay it out like this so that you, as the book continues to talk about spiritual beliefs, spiritual practices, and sense of meaning and purposes, we all are on the same page as far as what we're talking about. So page 33. I would rate on a scale of 1 to 5, since we only have a few people, I'm going to go around the room. Remember, participate to whatever extent you feel comfortable. If you don't want to answer, just say pass, not shake your head no, and we're good with that. I would rate on a scale of 1 to 5 the importance of spiritual or religious beliefs in my life, as my answer would be 5. I pray every day, mainly for my kids. And that's tied directly to my personal sense of purpose, which is to make sure they're taken care of. Who else would like to answer that question? How important is spirituality in your life? Tony? 5?
2.
4.
1. Okay, thank you guys. I like honest answers. These are spiritual beliefs that help me see through the dark and difficult times. Every time I've facilitated this group, I personally have had a hard time answering the questions on this page, because I have some deeply, I put a 5 on the first question, but I have a hard time finding solace using my spiritual beliefs and prayer. I wish I did get more help in dark and difficult times through prayer and my spiritual beliefs, but I don't. So I don't have a whole lot of answers for that one. Anybody else? What are some spiritual beliefs that help you through dark and difficult times? For example, an example of a spiritual belief that might help you through a dark and difficult time is that everything happens for a reason. And that's something I should have written on that list. That's a spiritual belief. Everything happens for a reason. Because you can dive deeper into any one of those religious groups to come up with a spiritual belief that you may hold on to as a mantra or something that gets you through the day, or especially dark and difficult times. Does anybody have any spiritual beliefs that get them through dark and difficult times?
It's all meaningless.
It's all, that is actually a really good answer, because I've used that one before. You know what? I'm only here for 1/10 of 1 millisecond of the amount of time that the earth has been here and human race has been here, so my life in the big scheme of things is really meaningless. Anyone else?
I don't mean that like a nihilistic way. I mean it is
No.
like in the Buddhist sense.
Yeah. Anyone else? Things happen for a reason.
It's not gonna last.
It's not going to
Forever
last.
and ever.
I like that one. I use that one.
Karma.
Karma. You reap what you sow. Yep. Okay, next question. I find these spiritual practices to be very important and sustaining in life. I listen to music, I pray, I do not go to church. By the way, I'm surprised I forgot to put that one on the... It ties in with fellowship. That's why I like fellowship really good, because most people go to church to be with people that feel that have similar beliefs to them. So, in the simplest sense, going to a church / synagogue / temple is a spiritual practice. What spiritual practices, if any, have helped you?
It's not spiritual, but meditation.
Meditation. That is worthy of writing down on the board too. All right. Anyone else? Spiritual practice, things you do. Sing in a choir, listen to your church music, go to church, talk to your family, spend time with your kids, sit out. This is one of mine. Sit outside and enjoy nature. That is a spiritual practice that I have that actually does help me. It's one of the few that helps me a lot. Just looking at, watching the birds, watching the squirrels jump around, looking at trees. Anyone else? Spiritual practices. All right, what are 3 to 5 things a person might start doing on a regular basis to strengthen their spiritual beliefs and practices? Think about that for a minute before we answer. While we have the door open, I don't want anyone answering with the door open, because remember our answers are right. Could you pass that? Thanks. Okay. I want you to focus on what the question is asking and what the question is not asking. The question is not asking, what are you going to start doing on a regular basis to strengthen your spiritual beliefs or practices? The question is actually more general than that. What are 3 to 5 things a person might start doing on a regular basis to strengthen their spiritual beliefs and practices? Anyone?
Go to church.
Go to church more often?
Read the religious,
Read your material from your religious organization. Pray. Listen to music. I like that one. I like one of the answers we got earlier. Fellowship, whether it's in a church or not. Spending time with people who have similar beliefs or who may help you find insight into your beliefs. Anyone else? There's some other things people could start doing or doing more of on a regular basis to strengthen their spiritual beliefs and practices. All right, let's move on. Page 34. Now, before we start answering the questions on page 34, let's look at the board under a sense of meaning and purpose. There is no right or wrong answer to sense of meaning and purpose. Why are you here? What is your personal sense of purpose? What does your church tell you you're here for? Good morning.
No.
I'll let you share with me. Just share along my reading. Yeah. 34. I'll go first. I would rate on a scale of 1 to 5 the amount of meaning and purpose I have in my life as... The amount? How do we want to interpret this question, guys? Because I don't have a lot, but the ones that I have are pretty important to me. So I'm going to say 5 because my kids are pretty important to me.
Hey,
Anyone else?
so if your kids ignored you, would you still feel committed to them?
Yep. I still feel responsible for them. So remember, this is we're amongst peers here at the Recovery Center, mental health recovery. And one of my jobs is to share my personal experiences and struggles. I can tell you that I've been so suicidal at certain points where I'm still somewhat currently surprised that I'm still alive. But I can tell you that when I was the closest I've ever been to hurting myself and ending it all, my kids, and wanting to make sure I was alive so that I could take care of them if they ever became homeless or got hurt, etc. That's the only reason I'm still alive today.
So if they just quit communicating with you, you would just...
Absolutely. I was still, because my kids could, I have 3 teenagers, so sometimes they do tell me they hate me, and sometimes they don't communicate with me very much. But I still feel it's important for me to be close enough to them that even if they wouldn't spend time with me, even if they never came over to my place, I would still be close enough to them that I could follow up with their family, with their uncles and aunts. Hey, how are they doing? And be there if they needed something. Anybody else? On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the amount of meaning and purpose you have in life?
2.
4.
4?
2.
2?
That's it.
4? And let's share, if you don't mind, if you're willing, whoever's willing, what are some of your senses of meaning and purpose? Why are you here? One of my answers is I don't know. One of my answers is to make sure take care of my kids, whatever way I can. Anybody else?
Help others.
Help others? I like that one. Anything not on the board? Sense of
Work
meaning
with
and purpose.
animals.
I like that one.
Because they were here before we were.
A
If you go
lot
to the
of
Bible.
people find sense of meaning and purpose through animals and animal rescues and taking care of animals. And anybody else? Anybody else like to answer how you rate the amount of meaning and purpose you have? All right. I already told you once, I'll tell you again. Every time I facilitate this class, I always struggle answering the questions about spirituality and meaning and purpose. These relationships give my life meaning and purpose. I guess you all can guess what my one answer to that question is. Which means I don't have a lot of other ones. I don't go to church, so I don't have a lot of people who share my religious beliefs. I don't have a pastor or priest, anything like that. My relationships with the following people: my kids. Who else would like to answer, if anybody?
My partner.
Partner? Anybody else? You have a relationship with people who share the same beliefs as you? You have relationships with a priest or a pastor or a minister or reverend?
I do, because the pastor is my medical power
Okay.
attorney.
What activities, what practices do you have that give your life meaning and purpose, that help you towards these goals? What practices do you have?
Fellowship.
Fellowship? Anyone else? What practices, what things do you do in your daily life help you figure out why you're here? or help you understand why you're here?
Giving good advice to my children and
Okay.
in my job, helping my clients,
Okay,
whatever needs they have.
that's a good
That
answer.
makes me feel good.
I like that.
Going to church,
Going to church,
meditation.
meditation, I like that. Prayer, listening to music, they help me. Those are some of my practices. Anyone else?
Going to church.
Okay. My involvement with the following groups. For me, the Recovery Center is the only group that I can put as an answer to that question, because like I said, I don't go to church. It's one of the things, by the way, bottom of the page, one of my answers for 3 to 5 things a person might start doing on a regular basis to create more meaning and purpose in their life. I would put going to church, because that's something I think would help me. But my involvement with the following groups: my kids, the Recovery Center. And actually, I just recently started socializing with my neighbors, and that's helping me a lot too, because it's helping me find a sense of meaning and purpose, because I'm starting to fall into that do unto others spiritual belief practice. It's all right? Always. Okay. What groups do you participate in that help you with your sense of meaning and purpose, if any? Anybody? Church groups, choirs?
Going to the masjid and, talking to my sisters and brothers and
Okay.
helping them out whatever I can help them in, and also they can help me too.
Family? Friends? Anyone else? All right. And the last question. What are 3 to 5 things a person might start doing on a regular basis to create more meaning and purpose in their life?
Volunteer.
Volunteer. I like that one. Actually, I'm going to...
Mine is babysitting.
Babysitting. Okay? You guys may think this is a silly answer, but I really truly mean this. Taking my kids to the park. Doing more things outside with my kids. Going to church. What are some other things a person could do to help with their sense of meaning and purpose?
Mentor.
Mentor. I like that. Anybody else? Of course, I like the random acts of kindness. Be nice. / kind. I like groups that promote doing random acts of kindness. Small things even, holding the door open for somebody. I have an elderly neighbor. Every time I see him, I help him carry his groceries in if I see him coming home with groceries. Every time he is taking, we're both disabled, but he's more disabled than I am. So whenever I see him taking out his trash, I'll grab his trash bags for him and walk him to the dumpster.
And that's kindness and also blessings too.
Yeah, and it feels good. And I don't do it for anything. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for him to like me. I want to do it for him because I would want somebody to do that for me. And that goes back to do unto others. That's one of my spiritual beliefs. I think we should treat people the way we want to be treated. Anyone else? What are some things that people could do or do more of on a regular basis to help them find a sense of meaning and purpose?
I do my jewelry, then sell it, so it gives me a little bit of income.
You know what? You reminded me of something very important. You don't have to be a nice person by our standards to have a sense of meaning and purpose. What's a sense of meaning and purpose that somebody that you and I may think is a not nice person might have? And I'm not saying wanting to make money makes you not nice, but some people's sole sense of purpose in life may be to have power or to make money. That is a sense of meaning and purpose, is it not?
Parentheses, politician.
What is a spiritual belief that we may not like or agree with that has nothing to do with God or spirituality, and it goes back to how would I word it? I'm the most important person in the world.
That's atheism right there. That's atheism.
No, it's
Some atheists may believe that, but in and of itself, how would you define selfishness to its extreme? You know what I'm talking about?
trying to think.
I'm just gonna put in quotes, me. I'm all that matters in this world. Maybe somebody like that, their sense of meaning and purpose would be make money, be powerful, have lots of,
Well, that's the same as me.
All right, anyone else? 3 to 5 things a person might start doing on a regular basis to create more meaning and purpose.
Getting out.
Getting out more? Anyone else?
Recycle.
Recycle? All right. Well, we're finished a few minutes early, so one of the things that I like to do at the end of groups is go around the room and ask people to share something that they're looking forward to in the next week, between now and next class. And it could be something big like I'm getting married, I'm moving, or it could be something small like I'm looking forward to getting a hot fudge sundae from McDonald's, which is one of my indulgences. Or I'm looking forward to having a nice cold glass of iced tea with dinner tonight. It could be big or small, there are no rules. So we'll start this way. What's something you're looking forward to in the next week? And if you don't want to answer, same as any other time in class, just say pass or.
I have to start back cooking again.
Okay. What's something you're looking forward to in this coming week? Nothing? What's something you could create to look forward to or plan on looking forward to? Do you like hot fudge sundaes at McDonald's? I know that sounds funny maybe, but if you can't think of anything, now's the opportunity to come up with something. You know what? I'm going to take a nap or sleep.
Yeah,
All day
that's
tomorrow.
what I plan on doing this evening.
Okay.
And plus having my car cleaned inside and out.
Okay. Next?
We got projects I'm gonna work on.
Okay, next.
Watch movies.
Ooh, that's one. I like that too.
Plan my birthday party on Wednesday. I'll be
Okay.
50.
Happy early birthday. Wow. Next?
I'll pass.
Okay, and you already said you're looking forward to
Sleep.
sleep.
Sleep and relaxing, but that throwing in that good movie is good too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've started, for the first time ever, I started watching streaming TV, and I've been watching streaming shows of old shows like The Nanny and some really old sitcoms. Kind of cool, kind of fun.
I
All
like
right.
the old cowboys, Bonanza, Laramie.
Yeah.
Those are on regular TV.
They're good.
All right, well, we're done a little bit early. Everybody have a great week. See you back here next Monday. And I'll take your book if you're not going to take it home with you.